Hello everyone, I'm Storm Tracker AT meteorologist Austin Haskins. It's been a rainy and stormy start to our Monday, and thankfully things are going to quiet down a little bit as we progress throughout the day today. An area of low pressure centered over the Twin Cities and west of our area this morning is kind of what's attributed to the rain and storms along this warm front. The cold front will come through later today. There may be some redevelopment this afternoon, but for the most part it will be very isolated in nature and likely staying farther to our south and east. But I do want to focus your attention to this area of low pressure to the northwest. That will set the stage for our chance for showers and storms to re-enter the forecast tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. And it does pose a threat for maybe some strong to severe storms, which I'll talk about here in just a minute. So Futurecast shows that main wave of rain moving out by about 8, 9 o'clock this morning, maybe some lingering till about 10. Then in the afternoon, not much activity, at least here on Futurecast, of some redeveloping showers and storms. But I can't totally rule it out because if we get some sunshine, that'll add a little bit of instability as temperatures look to push towards 80 this afternoon, and it's going to be humid too. Those dew points in the 60s. Tonight we'll have partly to mostly cloudy skies. I do expect fog to develop in some capacity overnight into tomorrow morning, so be mindful of that if you're going to be traveling. And really most of Tuesday until about early afternoon should be pretty quiet. It's just going to be even a little bit warmer and even a little more humid as those dew points push towards 70 degrees. Now, in the afternoon, as early as about 1 or 2 o'clock, we may have some showers and storms develop, but I'm really watching after about, I would say 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon for a line of storms to develop and push east through the area, and could be dealing with, again, some strong to severe storms and some heavy rain potentially, and that could linger all the way potentially into Wednesday morning. And then we'll have more showers and storms kind of redevelop with the heating of the day Wednesday afternoon and into Wednesday night. Here's another look at Futurecast, and this one kind of shows a little bit of that activity kind of developing into the afternoon. And again, exact placement of this, may kind of vary, but the idea is the activity that does redevelop this afternoon should be limited in coverage for the most part. But we'll watch the trends and bring you updates if the coverage or rain for this afternoon does increase a little bit. We're quiet again tonight, as I mentioned, and again, most of tomorrow was quiet. This one doesn't really show the activity developing in the early afternoon. It really shows that line of storms moving in after about, again, 4:30 tomorrow afternoon. And this one as they're reaching Rice Lake, Eau Claire around 7 p.m. and then quickly progressing east into the mid to late evening hours. So how much rain are we looking at? And most likely spots we'll see from 1/4 of an inch to 1.5 inches, and this is through Wednesday morning. And of course, some spots may have already exceeded that this morning. Higher end totals could be 2 inches or even more than that. As I mentioned, some heavy rain this morning. Some spots may have already exceeded that. And then tomorrow, as I mentioned, we have a risk for a couple strong to severe storms. We have a marginal risk that's a level 1 and a level 5 for the areas in green. That is basically roughly along and west of Highway 73. And the hazards tomorrow, pretty much going to be a hail and wind threat. I think the wind threat's going to be a little bit higher tomorrow. Winds could be upwards of about 50 to 60, maybe an isolated gust to 70 miles an hour. Hail up to about $1 to $half size. The tornado risk right now is basically 0, but we'll have to kind of watch, the data coming in. And if we end up getting a line of storms, it may be very similar potentially to what we had back just a few weeks ago when you get those little spin-up tornadoes along the line of storms. So we'll watch that as we head into the day tomorrow. High temperatures today, though, about the upper 70s and lower 80s. And again, those dew points in the 60s, so it's going to feel a little uncomfortable out there for today. And lows in the 60s for tonight, so a warm and muggy night ahead. Highs tomorrow, mostly low to mid 80s. I've seen some models go as high as about 87, 88 degrees. I'm not buying that, but I do think most spots should at least reach the low to mid 80s tomorrow. And then by Wednesday, we cool it off just a little bit back to the mid to upper 70s. The one noticeable thing, though, is the dew points are going to be much lower on Wednesday. Should drop that back down closer to the low 50s. And then the second half of the extended forecast, it does start with a little bit of wind Thursday and Friday, slight chance of a shower on Thursday. But as of right now, the way things stand, the weekend is looking spectacular with near average temperatures.